A tiny round part can stop your whole car from running. You know, when you pop the hood on any modern car, or even one of my Duesenbergs, you're looking at a complex ballet of moving parts. There's this long, black rubber belt, the serpentine belt, snaking its way around everything. It's the lifeblood, spinning the alternator to charge your battery, the water pump to keep things cool, and the power steering pump so you're not wrestling the wheel like you're arm wrestling Schwarzenegger. But that belt doesn't just stay in place by magic. It needs a guide, a shepherd to keep it on the straight and narrow, and that's where the humble idler pulley comes in. An idler pulley is really just a simple, free spinning wheel. It doesn't power anything directly, which is why it's called an idler. It's just hanging out, doing its job quietly. Its main purpose in life is to provide tension and route that serpentine belt correctly around all the other components. Think of it like a post in a fence line. It doesn't do the work itself, but without it, the whole fence would sag and fall apart. The pulley ensures the belt maintains perfect contact with all the components it needs to drive, preventing it from slipping, jumping off its track, or flapping around like a flag in a hurricane. It's a crucial supporting actor in your engine's daily performance. Well, imagine that fence post I mentioned suddenly rots and snaps. The fence line goes slack, the whole thing collapses, and your prize-winning petunias are now fair game for the neighborhood dog. It's the same under your hood. If that idler pulley seizes up or the bearing inside fails, the belt loses its guide. It can start to slip, which means your alternator isn't charging, your water pump isn't pumping, and your power steering says goodbye. In a worst-case scenario, the belt can shred itself or just fly right off, leaving you stranded on the side of the highway with a dead battery and a rapidly overheating engine. So this small, often overlooked component is actually a single point of failure for your entire accessory drive system. It's one of those parts you never think about until it decides to retire, usually at the most inconvenient time possible, like in the middle of rush hour traffic on a hot day. The engine itself might be perfectly fine, but without that belt spinning everything, you're not going anywhere. It's a classic case of a $5 part causing a $500 headache. That's why paying attention to the little things, the idler pulleys of the world, is what separates a well-maintained machine from a tow truck magnet. The first warning sign of a failing idler pulley is almost always an auditory one. Your car will start talking to you, and you need to listen. The most common sound is a high-pitched squeal or a chirp that seems to come from the front of the engine. This noise might show up only when you first start the car on a cold morning, or it might get louder when you turn on the air conditioning. This squealing is often the bearing inside the pulley beginning to fail, creating friction as it spins. It's the pulley's way of crying for help. If you ignore the initial squeal, the sound will likely evolve. It can morph into a more sinister grinding or rattling noise. A grinding sound means the ball bearings have lost lubrication and are metal on metal. It's a nasty, gravelly sound. The pulley is on its last legs. A rattling might mean the pulley is loose on its mounting bolt or the bearing assembly is wobbling on its axis. Either way, these are not happy engine sounds. They're sounds of imminent failure. Another symptom is directly related to the belt itself. Once you've heard something suspicious, the next step is a good old-fashioned visual inspection. Safety first. Make sure the car is parked on a level surface. Make sure the engine is off. And most importantly, it's had plenty of time to cool down. With the hood open and a good flashlight in hand, locate the serpentine belt. Follow its path. You'll find the idler pulley. It's not attached to a major accessory. Not the alternator, not the AC compressor. It'll be a smooth wheel or a grooved wheel on a bracket. First look, the pulley itself. Examine the wheel where the belt rides. Look for cracks, look for chips, look for excessive rust, cracking or melting on plastic, and heat discoloration on metal, or rust where the seal failed. Check the belt running over it. If the edges are frayed or shredded, that can mean the pulley is misaligned and chewing the belt. Failing bearings can sling grease as they fail. Look for a spray pattern of dark residue nearby. That greasy mess is a smoking gun. Replace the pulley before it seizes. Again, make absolutely certain the engine is off and cool. This is not a suggestion, it's a rule. With the belt still on, grab the idler pulley on its outer edges and try to wiggle it. Try to push it in and out. Try to rock it up and down. There should be virtually no play or wobble. It should feel solid. If you can feel a noticeable clunk or any side-to-side movement, the bearing inside is shot. That wobble causes rattling noises and allows the belt to track improperly. For the next test, you'll need to release the tension on the serpentine belt. Use a long-handled ratchet or a belt tensioner tool to rotate the spring-loaded tensioner and make slack to slip the belt off. Know the belt routing diagram first. Take a quick picture with your phone. Once the belt is off, you can perform the most definitive test, the spin test. This is where you'll find your answer. Now that the pulley is free, give it a good spin with your finger. A healthy pulley should spin smoothly and silently for a few rotations, then stop. It should feel almost frictionless and make no noise. If you hear a grinding, gritty noise, you've found your problem. That's the bearings. If it feels rough or catches as it spins, it's bad. If it spins like a fidget spinner and keeps going, that's bad too. So, you've diagnosed a bad idler pulley. What's next? The good news is that this is generally not a bank-breaking repair. The part itself, the idler pulley, is usually quite affordable. Depending on the make and model of your car, a new pulley can range from very cheap to moderately priced. If you're a bit handy with a wrench, primarily a belt tensioner tool, and the correct size socket for the pulley bolt, you can often do this yourself in your own garage in under an hour. If you're not comfortable tackling the job yourself, a professional mechanic can get it done quickly. For a shop, this is everyday work. Expect about an hour of labor plus the cost of the part. A smart mechanic will almost always recommend replacing the serpentine belt at the same time, especially if it's showing signs of wear or has more than 50,000 miles on it. It's a classic while you're in there job. Replace the belt, replace the tensioner, replace the idler pulley. Doing those together is cost-effective and improves long-term reliability. When it comes to parts, don't cheap out. You don't have to buy the most expensive option, but avoid the no-name, rock-bottom priced parts from questionable sources. A quality pulley from a reputable brand has a better bearing and is manufactured to higher standards and will last longer. The small savings on a cheap part aren't worth getting stranded again. Do the job once and do it right with good components. Small part, big roll, keeps your car on the road. Pay attention to the little noises your car makes and do a quick check to avoid a major breakdown. Don't ignore the squeal. Deal with the wheel.